Hello and welcome back to the Loyal Sun Show. That's at the Loyal Suns on all the social medias. Follow us there and follow us wherever you get your podcasts for Pitt sports content you won't want to miss. If you love that it's almost March and hate heartbreaking losses, this is the place for you. The Loyal Sun Show, a safe, sunshiny place for your Pitt athletics fix, brought to you by Section 5. We're about 24 hours removed from the tip off of last night's game against Clemson. We're recording this around 6:30 on Wednesday, and still gathering our thoughts, still coming down from what was an emotional night for our Pitt Panthers. Pitt falls 69-62 to the Clemson Tigers in a game that wasn't 100% a must win, but a win that you really, really wanted to have. Would have added another quad one win to the resume. And that marks 12 straight losses to Clemson in basketball, which is just kind of odd, to be honest. David, I'm here with David. Squid's ducking out tonight. We think he's still a little upset over the game. David, how you feeling about last night's game? How you feeling about the team in general? And, how are you, brother?
What's your favorite Willie Nelson song? Turn out the lights. Party's over.
They say all good things must end. All right, we don't have to go any further.
I think they get the point. Not good. Not good. I think I lack the optimism that you have. That felt like the death blow last night. It just sucked. That sucked.
Yeah, there's not many other ways to really describe how they lost that one. It was a frustrating game in real time. I know, even going back to the first half, I mean, Pitt went into that. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, you'd sign up for a 4-point lead at halftime any day. If you would have gave me that option before the game, 100%, I'm signing up for it every time. But also it felt like a game where we should have been leading by 10 at halftime, and that would somehow come back to bite us in the ass. And it ultimately did. Multiple missed layups in the first half, just those missed opportunities where it felt like Pitt could really just hop on Clemson and, go up 12, 14 points. Never really stretched it out to double digits and ultimately win the halftime up 4. Yeah, I mean, real time, that game was a brutal watch.
Yeah, it was all of our worst fears based on this season coming true. The entire team going cold from beyond the arc and kind of in general from the entire field, and that killing us, being too reliant on the deep ball. Our bigs getting bullied underneath because they lack that little light in the ass and just getting pushed around underneath. And then on top of that, when you add Pitt's best player just playing the worst game in the Royal and Gold.
They wore black and gold last night.
Oh, yeah. His worst game in the Royal or black and gold. And, God, it was heartbreaking because I think from the start of the second half, you saw the big boys on Clemson start digging in underneath, and you saw the shots weren't falling, and you knew exactly where this was going.
Yeah, Clemson looked to me like a veteran team, an older team than Pitt was, which they are, and it looked that way. Like you said, starting off in the second half, just kind of overwhelming Pitt on the defensive end, not really giving them much space to breathe, and then kind of beating them up down low with those bigger guys. Quick side note, where do PJ Hall and Scheffline fall in categories of just very hateable white college basketball players?
Well, they don't play for Duke, so that's automatically like a ceiling of second tier. But pretty high. And I think recency bias is going to play into it. But
Yeah, the fact that they just dealt us like a potentially season ruining blow last night, including like an absolute dagger 3 from Shefflin late.
So I'll go. So tier 1 is occupied by every Duke player ever.
And right now, like currently, Filipowski is like his own tier.
Can we put a pin on Flip? Okay, we're gonna circle back to give Flip his due at the end of this. Vent our frustrations a little bit. Tier 2 is Syracuse guys who can hit threes, specifically in Madison Square Garden, specifically in the month of March. So I'd say in terms of hateable white guys, Hall and I can't say the other dude's name. They're tier 3.
Okay, fair enough. Just wanted to see where we stood with them. But yeah, they started to flex their muscle a little bit. Our big guys, this has kind of been a theme for Pitt the last couple of seasons. Just don't have enough meat on the bones just yet. I think that's something that Pitt will certainly want to address in the off season. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but it's been a theme with Pitt where they can really get pushed around. But yeah, I mean, I think you look at what the Clemson did to Blake, and they defended him as well as anyone has. He he's scored 41 points in the game last week. He's put up 27 at Duke. He's put up 29 this season. Like, there have been teams who have had absolutely no answer for them, and they basically clamped him from the opening tip. Only shot 4 threes last night. Blake makes 4 threes most night, but last night he only shot 4. One of those was a heave late in the shot clock, although sometimes those are good shots for Blake. But one of those was like a last second, got to get the grenade out of my hands. So really, he didn't get any good looks from 3, and they made it tough on him all night. And really, we've seen it all year, but specifically last night, this team can really only go as far as Blake can take them. All those supporting pieces, when they're on. Everybody kind of chips in, but the one consistent piece of this team is if Blake plays well, we have a chance to win. If not, there's really no shot. And sometimes, I mean, he is your best player, right? That's not like a unheard of.
No, that's not crazy. But what puts us at a disadvantage is that our best player is very streaky and very reliant on like 35-foot threes. Whereas, if you think of, I don't know, who's the best player in college basketball right now? Don't say Zach Edey.
Caitlin Clark.
That's actually a really good example. Caitlin Clark will take you to the hole.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark can score from every level. Like, if she's not hitting her ridiculous 35-foot threes, Iowa still has a chance to win any games. Blake is kind of one-dimensional, and
I think also
not a great defender. So if he's not hitting 35-foot threes, we are screwed.
Yeah, and I think even to put this more in a Pitt-centric comparison, like Jamarius Burton last year, the go-to guy, he was the closer. Mm-hmm. It was when Pitt needed a bucket, he found a way to get a matchup he liked, put a smaller guard in the high post on the baseline, something, just hit a tough turnaround jumper, or just get hit to his spot in the mid range and get a bucket when Pitt needed it, or just go ahead and get fouled and hit 2 free throws when Pitt needed it. Blake obviously doesn't really have that type of play style. Blake is explosive in the sense that, I mean, he can literally score, 27 points in a half?
Yeah.
Not many guys can do that, but like you said, he's streaky. He has to see a couple go in, and when a team defends him like Clemson did last night, he doesn't get to see many shots go in or any from 3-point range like last night. So yeah, it makes things tougher on everyone. And once again, I really do think Clemson did a really good job of applying pressure on Pitt early. I think a bit of the foul trouble that Pitt had with the bigs, with Bub again, um, kind of threw off their rotations and had them having to play some guys, messed up their rotations. Same thing happened against Wake Forest. That was a completely different game. That was just an absolute ass whooping. But when they get in these situations where they have to tweak those rotations a bit, they have to play some guys. They threw Will Jeffress out there for a possession or two last night, and it was like, oh god, like you can tell right away he can't play in this game. There have been games this year where Will has come in and saved the day. It was pretty clear from the second he stepped on the floor last night that last night wasn't going to be one of those games. So a lot went into it, but I do have to I'm upset about the loss. It was rough. It was heartbreaking because we knew how much that game meant. But I do want to remind people because I saw a lot of bitching last night and a lot of oh, this team sucks. They're soft.
From Pitt fans.
Yeah, and trust me, I get it. It's the emotions of the game, and it was a big, huge game. But it's really hard to beat good teams on the road in college basketball. Clemson's if this tournament started tomorrow, Clemson would probably be a 5 seed. And it's hard to just go into their arena and beat them. And just look at teams' records at home and away, their splits in college basketball. Pitt has actually been really good on the road this year. But that's not a game that on paper you're supposed to win. Pitt was 7-point underdogs going into that game last night, which shocked. Vegas hit it directly on the head. Pitt loses by 7.
Yeah, especially with how raucous that crowd at Clemson was, and I know it because they had some mics way too close to a couple people, and I heard a couple choice things. I don't know if you were listening for that, but the ACC broadcast is, you could convince me, a social experiment at this point, between the announcers' inability to count, their open antagonization of is it Michael Beadle?
Beadle. His first name was Josh Beadle.
Josh Beadle, and the fact that they just had very live mics next to some guys who were saying some stuff. But yeah, that was a tough environment, and you hate to be in. Kitty loves the camera. Hold on. It's never great to be in the position where you have to win at a Clemson in order to have a prayer at the tournament, and we kind of put ourselves in that position. But it's just tough. It feels like we've kind of crumbled in these big moments this year.
I'd counter that with we didn't crumble at UVA and then just kind of stuck it to them at the end of the game. We didn't crumble against Duke. Jalen Lowe hits a huge shot late. I will also say Jalen Lowe was on the floor late last night, which is a questionable decision from Coach Capel. I know he said they liked the lineup they had in there late, but Lowe has been probably their second best player over the past month and a half. So
yeah,
that's one you look back and think, maybe not. Maybe don't leave him on the bench.
Yeah, but at the same time, if I had a nickel for every time Blake Hinson completely disappeared during what at the time feels like the most important game of the season, I'd have 10 cents, which isn't a lot, but it's kind of weird that it happened twice. We're talking about Blake Hinson. Dude's got ice in his veins, or so I thought. And to watch him, falter against, and Kitty just knocked over all my pens. To watch him falter against Wake Forest and Clemson in the clutch, it's, a little disheartening. And I will love him forever, but it's It's not great for the legacy. Kitty, get out of here.
While David deals with his cat, um, I'll say basketball is a simple game sometimes. If you look at last night, uh, if you make shots, you have a good chance to win. And if you don't, it severely hurts your chances to win. Pitt as a team last night went 7 of 25 from 3-point range. If they go 10 of 25, which is 40%, a high clip, but like if they go 10 of 25, they probably win the game. You have Guillermo who's shooting 40% from three in ACC play coming into last night, and he goes 0 for 3 and got 3 pretty good looks. Any one of those would have been big. If Blake goes 0 for 4, if Blake hits one circus shot, which he's usually good for every game.
Oh yeah.
Does that change the game? Like, I hate to boil it down to that, but it's like hit a couple more shots and maybe the game's completely different. It sounds cliche, but like make your shots and you win. So I think everything's just amplified because of what we knew that game meant in terms of our resume, in terms of our possibility of getting into the tournament.
Hey, Panther Nation. Have you ever crashed your spin scooter going down Cardiac Hill? Or wiped out on an icy sidewalk in South Oakland? Have you ever been hit by a bus crossing Forbes Avenue? Well, you may not have to pay that hospital bill on your own. If you're hurt in an accident, pick up the phone and call Guido at Gurrera Law. Guido Gurrera is a University of Pittsburgh Law School grad, Pitt football superfan, and experienced personal injury attorney who's licensed in Pennsylvania and Ohio. And it is 100% free to call him for consultation on your personal injury case. So the next time you get rear-ended in Oakland rush hour traffic, or if you fall down the stairs at Peters, call Guido. All joking aside, Oakland and the world can be a very dangerous place. If you need legal help, talk to Guido. He'll treat you like a fellow Pitt fan and never like a number. 412-229-7757 is the number to call. That's 412-229-7757 to call Guido. You can also contact Gurrera Law at gurreralaw.com. That's Gurrera. Call Guido today.
I'm not ready to say rest in peace to this team. I'm not ready.
You aren't?
I'm not ready to buy my NIT tickets just yet. I know a lot of people are, but I look back at where we were when there was 10 games remaining. And I remember thinking, if Pitt can go 8-2 in these last 10, get to 21-10, going into the ACC tournament, finish 12-8 in conference, we can probably be in a pretty good spot. Well, now we have 3 games left, and if we go 3-0 in these last 3 regular season games, we'll be right there. We'll be at 21-10 going into the ACC tournament, 12-8 in the ACC. Probably going to put us at a single bye in the ACC tournament, so in that 5 to 8 range, and have a chance to get a win that first day and then play yourself into the quarterfinals. Whoever you play in the quarterfinals, more than likely, unless one of the lower seeds makes a run, is going to be a quad 1 game. So you can realistically play yourself into an opportunity to get another quad 1 win. And that basically would cancel out what we had last night. If Pitt runs the table here, 3-0 in the regular season, gets 2 wins in the ACC tournament, I think 23 wins and another quad 1 win absolutely gets us into the dance. 3-0 in the regular season, 1 in the ACC tournament. Probably going to need some help from other teams on the bubble and maybe still on the outside looking in. But I know it's a lot. I basically am saying you have to win 5 straight games to play your way into the tournament, but it's March, baby.
I have to imagine Jeff Capel's telling the team the same thing.
Yeah,
you have to win 5 straight games.
Our March Madness starts Saturday. You win, and you go home. So, not exactly. They will still actually have more games if they were to lose before then. But for the sake of getting to the tournament, getting to where everyone wants to be the big dance. Got to keep winning.
Yeah, I mean, what the alternative is the NIT or whatever other tournaments there are, and I
mean,
I don't.
Pitt has won the CBI before.
What year was that?
I think that was the first year they played the CBI. That's going back to like. I actually want to look this up. That's got to be my guess, and this is how foggy it is for me. My guess is going to be like 2015.
Yeah,
2012.
Like winning something would be cool, but at the end of the day, I don't know if we're going to be doing Wednesday emergency shows for big NIT wins, you know?
Yeah, I would say losing in the first round of the NCAA tournament is cooler than like winning the NIT.
Yes.
Because, I'm actually going to say 100% it is cooler.
Yeah, because
it matters.
You are a logically, by default, a better basketball team just having made the tournament than even the champion of like a CBI or NIT.
Yeah, well, CBI, they should not even accept a bid. I would think they're pretty much locked into a NIT bid at this point. But they do host the game, so we would get another home game. But
that'd be cool. I'm sure a lot of people would show up.
So, I mean, what do you think? Did you put the nail in the coffin last night, or are you bought back in with me?
I had I wouldn't say the nail was in the coffin, but I made like a starter hole, like when you like have the nail and you tap it a couple times so it kind of stands on its own and you can really like let her have it. I think 5 consecutive wins is like the bare minimum. I think if they lose another game, it's very, very over. I'm going to go as far as to say they need to make noise in the ACC tournament. Don't ask me to quantify what that means. It's you know, I know it when I see it. I
need to be playing on Friday night. Friday night's semifinals. You need to get to Friday.
Need to get to Friday. Need to stir a little bit of national attention. You know, get the media talking a little bit about Pitt looking hot. Because Blake for some Henson reason that matters.
Blake Henson just dropped 30 against UNC in a loss.
That's why I thought the 40-point game was such a big deal, because it had people talking.
Yeah.
And for some reason that matters. For some reason that matters. But yeah, I'm gonna set my bar a little bit higher than you, but I don't know. I'm not gonna give up, because what else do I have to do with my life right now?
Right.
Like, it's too early to even be talking myself into the Pirates, a thing I never do, but like is break glass in case of an emergency. Like, it's too early for that. This is all I have going for me. And plus, Archie tweeted at us last night that Pitt's running the table and they're going to make the tournament, and he guarantees it.
It'll happen, because Arch said it would.
Archie Rothstein.
That's right.
Are you or someone you know looking for work in a recession-proof industry? Are you someone that's interested in things like having health care, having a 401k, immediate PTO accrual, an employee assistance program, or referral payouts? Our newest sponsor, Haddad Accelerated Delivery, an Amazon delivery partner, is looking for safety-minded and dependable drivers to join their delivery service team. Be a part of a company that will encourage self-ownership and award bonuses based on exceptional safety and delivery efforts. This is the ideal gig for individuals seeking full-time work or students interested in making some pretty good money during breaks. If you or someone you know is safety-focused, hardworking, organized, efficient, and team-oriented, text HADD to 464-646 to apply. I understand that is an impossible string of letters and numbers, so here it is again. That's HADD to 464-646. For a job that's the total package, get it? Because, like, it's deliveries. Haddad Accelerated Delivery is the place for you.
Well, why not us? Let's make a run. Let's make the ACC tournament a lot of fun. I'm not giving up yet.
Nope.
March starts in... Oh, it's a leap year. So we have an extra day of February, but March on Friday. I was born in a leap year.
In June?
Yeah. It's still a leap year. There's only one every 4 years.
Fair.
Right, before we sign off, I promised you time to talk about your buddy Flip down at Duke.
Honestly, I don't even have anything prepared. I'm just so bemused by that whole thing. My first question, and we won't take long for this because I don't think either of us wants to keep thinking about college basketball until Pitt gives us a reason to want to think about college basketball. Where do you fall on the question of, was Filipowski trying to trip that kid when he hurt himself, or like at least push him or something? And two, what do you think about the storming the court, storming the field debacle, argument, whatever?
So, you can convince yourself from a certain angle that maybe he was trying to trip/push that kid, but also
yeah,
he's trying to get off the court with thousands of students running perpendicular to him. I may give him the benefit of the doubt on that he was maybe taking an extra long step or trying to stop his steps, stay out of a stampede. The rest of the situation, I mean, give me a break. Shire and Filipowski
oh my god,
parading to the country. Oh, he could have got killed. This was a malicious act. Spare me.
And the video's a real Rorschach test. You see what you want to see, or you see what subconsciously is most conducive to your beliefs and ideals. And it doesn't help the fact that he's Duke's star player, so most of the country is going to see a trip and a shove.
Right.
And then furthermore, they did the whole Duke super sanctimonious BS media tour about it. So
yeah, this is the second lamest thing he's done with the media this year, other than when he cried about Blake, giving it to the camera crazies after going off. And then the court storming, field storming thing, I'm all about fun. I like fun. And
fun is most important.
I think court storming's fun. I've only stormed a court for I'm sure we've done a mini court storm in a rec basketball game when we were younger, something stupid. But I stormed the court for the Robert Morris victory over Kentucky when they played them in the NIT. Yeah, I was at that game and stormed the court, jumped over the press table, was on someone's shoulders. I was in 10th grade at the time, but it was yeah, I'm not a Robert Morris student. Didn't really watch much Robert Morris, but it was just an awesome.
That was NIT, right?
Yeah, it was the first round of the NIT. Robert Morris had to host because Kentucky was hosting the NCAA women's volleyball tournament because they just assumed they would be in March Madness and wouldn't be hosting an NIT game. So they hosted at RMU, and yeah, core memory for me. So I'm team court storm, but I do think the team who is the home team and their security and the arena staff have to be better at, I think, protecting the opposing team.
Yeah.
And their players and their staff, because it just in essence thousands of people running in the same direction, all storming together, is dangerous in and of itself. And when you have some guys who have just a bunch of college kids who've probably been drinking and have been chanting at these guys from afar for 40 minutes and finally get a chance to run by them, it's easy to like something to go wrong. And I don't know what would have to happen, like, outside of like someone dying or being maimed, for them to actually stop it. Maybe like if a guy like Filipowski, instead of tripping a kid, just absolutely just decks some kid running onto the field, maybe that stops it. I don't know.
Well, and that's, I don't want to say that's more common, but like I've definitely, with the advent of everybody having a camera attached to them, I have seen more videos every single year of athletes actually decking dudes, like especially in football, just like some 120-pound freshman biology major getting absolutely waxed by like an Alabama defensive tackle, thinking no one is going to see it because of like all the human coverage. I I agree with everything you said. I think there's got to be protocols put in place. Clemson's been effectively storming the field for every home game for like ever, right? Like follow that blueprint. There's got to be ways to protect them, but if you think that storming the field and storming the court needs to be banned, you have a big old dump in your pants. Let the kids have fun. And plus, I alluded to this in a tweet from our account earlier this week or last week. It is, even if it is banned, it is simply going to keep occurring, because unless you start fining schools into the millions, the visual and the media exposure given to the school's athletics programs and their brand by a court or field storming far surpasses the monetary value of the fine. It is a good field storming is worth millions of dollars in brand exposure for a school or university. That's just how it is. They have no incentive to not just eat the fine.
Right. How about Pitt, Peterson Event Center? Never been a court storming.
I don't think there's been one at High. That's for other reasons, but
well, okay. Now that you bring it up, I was going to say I remember Kenny Pickett game, his first start against Miami. Students were filing in to storm the field for that game over number 2 Miami, and the police were there and saying, absolutely do not step on this field. You will be arrested. So like at Hines, I don't know if it's because of the protocol of like NFL games and they have the same security there. That's probably more so what it is. But I mean, so yeah, technically you can prevent it if you want to, but I don't think anyone is all that inclined to do it.
Exactly. Because it is money into your pocket. It is free pub to have 30,000 of your students, well, not 30,000 because that's more students than probably go to most public universities, but to have thousands of your students on the field taking videos, having the time of their lives, celebrating the school, the brand together, their allegiance to the school. That's where so much, but yeah, I have to imagine it's going to be hard for Pitt. Could you imagine a Steelers game played on like a rainy Sunday after a Pitt field storming? It'd be a 3-0 game.
Yeah, it would be similar to that Monday night game against Miami.
Oh, we all remember it. There'd be some punts just going dead into the ground. Let the kids have fun.
Court storming's fun until it isn't. But right now it's fun. With that, I think we're going to sign off. We'll be back here when we find it, I guess, We play Saturday, then
Suitable.
Tuesday. Yeah, until it's worth it for us to hop on here and record
Yeah.
another episode. But stick around. Pitt's gonna make some noise in March, and then March Madness on the horizon. So let's hope we're a part of it. But as always, thanks for tuning in, and hail loyal sons of Pittsburgh.